Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Intrust Arena in Wichita, Kansas, and I am doing this review early. I don't even care about this ending segment here to end the show, where it's just going to be a pose down between Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley. You have Austin Theory coming out there already, making his way out. Has some sort of a mic on him. So yeah, there you go. A pose down on the show tonight to end Monday Night Raw. Awful. Absolutely awful. And this whole show was so goddamn terrible tonight. This show feels like I've been watching it for 4 hours. It's almost over. It's a 3-hour show, but it felt like 4 because of the pacing tonight. But nothing happened on this show tonight. Nothing. We had 2 Money in the Bank qualifying matches. And the one that stood out was Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. The other Money in the Bank qualifying match was Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan versus Nikki, A.S.H, and Doudrop. And the 2 who won will be in Money in the Bank. So both women will qualify for Money in the Bank. And then we had Jimmy Uso versus Montes Ford. How many times have we seen this? We had Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. Again, how many times have we seen this? This feud needs to fucking end already. It really does. We had MVP versus Cedric Alexandra. We had Riddle versus Champa. And I just saw Veer Mahan end up defeating Rey Mysterio. This was Monday Night Raw tonight. But overall, Monday Night Raw, this show has been fucking terrible tonight, as always. And if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded on Saturday, I got a chance to meet Bret Hart. It was amazing. Got to shake his hand, talk to him for a bit. He signed my 1993 King of the Ring figure, Elite, which was only a Ringside Collectibles exclusive. So here it is. So really glad he signed it. So, but it was awesome. Check out my video of that if you guys haven't seen it. Got to meet him at Wrestling Universe in Queens, but it was in the comic shop that was across the way. So check out my video of that. And also I uploaded another commercial break today, from UPN from 2003. So I uploaded that earlier today. And also with Monday Night Raw tonight, I gotta mention this. How many fucking times did we see that Little Caesars commercial with the thin crust summer with the guy and the girl with the glasses? Every fucking commercial break during the show tonight, the Little Caesars commercial came up. Little Caesars, Little Caesars, Little Caesars. How many times? I was thinking about, oh yeah, take a drink. Make a drinking game out of that. Every time the Little Caesars commercial comes on, take a drink. So annoying. God, I'm like, can we stop seeing this Little Caesars commercial? So, but anyways, let's get on with the review. So Monday Night Raw opened up tonight, and it opened up with MITB. And already WWE wanted its fans to change the channel at that. What a terrible way to open up Monday Night Raw tonight. With MITB. But oh yeah, let me react to this thing right here with the pose down between Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley. Have Adam Pearce in there. See how this shit goes. And there's a stand in the ring, in the middle of the ring. This is what HDT gets created for. I said Corey Graves. Yeah, here comes Bobby Lashley. Here comes the Almighty. He's making his entrance. And fireworks going. Gotta love the bickering between Byron Saxton and Corey Graves. Yeah, Lashley's getting into the ring. Yeah, he's getting a pop from the crowd. Thank God Lashley is moving on to Theory and away from Omos. Thank God that feud is over with. This is what's going on. Adam Pearce there. You know, there's a stand there in the middle of the ring. So they're just posing. They're just flexing. So this is what it's going to be?
Hey, is this on? Yeah. No, actually, you already messed up. You botched the beginning. This is my show. This is my posing.
You need to be on the posing here. You need to get on the podium to start the pose now.
I'm gonna get on there. But I'm gonna let you know something.
If you don't get on the podium, I'm gonna disqualify you right now.
So Theory's getting on the podium.
First, the double bicep.
And I would call it a stand, but it's a podium. Oh yeah. That's Austin Theory right now. There you go.
And finally, most muscular.
You ready for this one? This is almighty right here. That is incredible. Look at the traps.
Yeah, that's Austin Theory going. Ah. That was just him right now. What a waste of time this is.
Let's keep it going. You only get 3 poses. You only got 3 poses. You're stalling, Theory. You brought this on yourself. Now you're going to get dealt with. I'm going to embarrass your ass here, and then I'm going to kick your ass in the ring. And then just like I told you before, I'm taking that title from you, kid. Ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go with Bobby Lashley now. There you go. Flexing. There you go. That's what a waste of time. What a waste of time this is. They got 2 minutes left of this show.
Thank you, Mr. Lashley.
just getting to the review and then just had to get my reaction to this. Oh, is the winner going to be Bobby Lashley? Of course.
No. You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut up. Chant from me. Who won this competition? Was it Theory?
So he's begging the crowd. Theory's begging the crowd. Who is better to chant for him? Of course.
Bobby, there's one more pose. If you really think you can beat me in a pose off, and you really want this, we got one more pose.
And this is all for Lashley to get a shot at the United States Championship. Lashley Theory just squirted Lashley with some baby oil, water, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, there you go. What a waste. What a waste this is. All for Lashley to get a shot at the United States Championship. There you go. He's taking a selfie, Theory. Jeez. This is awful. This is fucking awful. Alright, enough of this. Enough of that. So yeah, that was my reaction to this stupid waste of time pose down between Bobby Lashley and Theory. So the show just ended. But back to the review. Monday Night Raw opened up with The Miz for Miz TV. Well, awful way to open up the show tonight. So Miz ended up introducing his guest, but he was interrupted by Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was also in there with The Miz. He was also in the ring. Paul Heyman then ended up introducing himself, going, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman," doing his whole shtick. Miz then talked about the Money in the Bank matches and explains how it works. Miz, we all know how Money in the Bank works. So you don't need to explain how Money in the Bank works. We all know it. We've been seeing Money in the Bank matches since 2005 when it was introduced at WrestleMania 21. We know how it works. So The Miz ended up reminding us that he cashed in Money in the Bank successfully on 2 occasions. He had to explain that one must wait for the perfect moment, when the champion is at his most weak and vulnerable. He kept speculating on the winner of Money in the Bank cashing in on the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. So Paul Heyman ended up saying that whoever tries to cash in on the tribal chief will fail. So Paul Heyman ended up mentioning that Reigns will defend the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against Riddle this Friday on SmackDown. Which, if I was booking that match, I wouldn't put it on SmackDown. This match should be at Money in the Bank and not on SmackDown on Friday. But, of course, Roman Reigns, he's not showing up for Money in the Bank. So he ended up missing Backlash. He missed Hell in a Cell, and now he's missing Money in the Bank. The next time Roman Reigns won't appear on the Premium Live event is until SummerSlam. Because WWE has given Roman Reigns a Brock Lesnar schedule. So the next time we'll see Roman Reigns on a Premium Live event is at SummerSlam. So Paul Heyman ended up starting to go on, talk, and he got interrupted by Riddle because he mentioned Riddle's name of him having the match with Roman Reigns this Friday on SmackDown. So Riddle ended up coming out, and he wanted to hear what's being said about him in person. Miz ended up interrupting, and he ended up saying they demand that him and Paul Heyman demand respect. Paul Heyman then ended up giving Riddle credit for having the balls to interrupt him and a segment of Miz TV. And why Paul Heyman ended up giving Riddle credit for having balls is because last week on Monday Night Raw, we had The Miz and Maurice. They ended up appearing because it was the premiere of Miz and Mrs. Season 3 last week. And Riddle ended up going on saying, "Oh, how are your balls?" To The Miz last week. I'm like, why are we mentioning balls on TV? Why are we mentioning, how Mrs. Balls is on TV? Who was writing this shit? So then Riddle was like, to The Miz, how are your balls this week? Yeah, Riddle said that tonight to The Miz. Riddle ended up saying that Heyman and the Tribal Chief don't know him and have no idea what he's capable of. But Reigns will be adding a stipulation to the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship match this Friday on SmackDown. And Riddle ended up saying that he doesn't care what it is. So Paul Heyman ended up saying that Riddle has a lot of momentum, but it will be stopped by the Tribal Chief this Friday. Paul Heyman ended up saying that Riddle can't beat the Tribal Chief. And he doesn't even think Riddle can beat his opponent tonight. So then Paul Heyman ended up arranging for a stipulation that if Riddle loses to the Tribal Chief, he will never get another shot at the undisputed WWE Universal Championship as long as Reigns is the champion. So Paul Heyman ended up introducing the Usos, and they ended up making their way out. And they had Riddle cornered in the ring. The Street Profits, Montes Ford, Angelo Dawkins, end up making their way out. And they end up coming into the ring to stand alongside Riddle. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. That was how the segment ended. But overall, did we need Miz TV with Paul Heyman being in there? Paul Heyman just could have did the whole segment by himself. I don't know why we had to have Miz TV with the Miz being in there when Paul Heyman could just do a segment all on his own. We all know how Paul Heyman is with his segments. He does a very great job with them. So this didn't need to be a Miz TV segment. It really didn't. We had the first match of the night, Montes Ford versus Jimmy Uso. How many times have we seen these guys go at it? But the match was pretty good, in my opinion. So we had Montes Ford and Jimmy end up locking up. Jimmy ended up back and forth into the corner, started delivering some chops and strikes. Jimmy ended up taking down Montes Ford with a headlock. Ford ended up pushing Jimmy off and ran into a shoulder block. Jimmy ended up coming off the ropes, and Montes Ford delivered a drop kick to Jimmy. Jimmy then rolled out of the ring, out to the floor. He got back into the ring. Montes Ford ended up grabbing a waistlock. Jimmy ended up elbowing out of that and ended up delivering a chop to Montes Ford. So Jimmy ended up whipping Ford into the corner. Jimmy ended up lifting Ford on his shoulders, and Ford ended up slipping out and ended up delivering another drop kick to Jimmy. He ended up going for the cover, and Jimmy kicked out too. So Ford ended up grabbing an armbar to ground Jimmy. Jimmy fought back and ended up headbutting Montes Ford to break up the armbar. Jimmy ended up throwing Montes Ford over the top rope, but he ended up landing on his feet on the ring apron. Ford ended up trying to slingshot his way back to the ring, but he ran into a punch delivered by Jimmy. Jimmy ended up coming out to the apron and suplexed Montes Ford on the ring apron. So we had, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Jimmy and Montes Ford were trading strikes in the middle of the ring. Jimmy ended up cutting him off with a backdrop suplex, and he ended up going for the cover, to which Montes Ford kicked out at 2. Jimmy ended up grabbing a waistlock to ground Montes Ford, but Ford ended up fighting back to his feet. He ended up pulling Jimmy's hands apart, ended up delivering his own backdrop suplex. So both Jimmy and Montes Ford were down. We had Montes Ford later on. He ended up pulling Jimmy up. He got hit with a spinning kick and a Samoan drop. So we had Jimmy ended up going for the cover. Montes Ford ended up kicking out, to which Montes Ford ended up rolling out of the ring to the apron. Jimmy ended up following him and tried to deliver another suplex, but Montes Ford ended up fighting out, ended up hitting a jumping kick to Jimmy's head. Ford then ended up trying to go for a suplex, but Jimmy blocked it. He ended up pushing Ford into the ring apron. And we had Montes Ford end up catching Jimmy Uso with a Super Hurricanrana. Ford ended up going to the top rope. Jimmy ended up getting his knees up on the frog splash, and he ended up rolling Montes Ford up. So there you go. Jimmy Uso ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a pretty good match, but how many times have we seen Montes Ford and Jimmy go at it? When it's the Street Profits and the Usos. We've seen them guys go at it before. And then we saw Kevin Patrick. Kevin Patrick was interviewing Seth Rollins, and Kevin Patrick ended up asking if Seth Rollins has any remorse about what he did to Cody Rhodes. Rollins ended up saying that Cody is a virus, and he had been playing the WWE since WrestleMania. I think Monday Night Raw is a virus. Seth Rollins ended up saying that he had to take matters into his own hands. He ended up saying that Cody was becoming a danger to himself because he wanted to compete in the Money in the Bank match with a torn pectoral. So Rollins ended up saying that he has no remorse, and he ended up taking pride in what he did to Cody. So Kevin Patrick ended up asking Rollins what's next for him. Rollins ended up saying that he has his eyes on getting into the Money in the Bank match. But to do so, he must win a qualifying match against Styles. Rollins ended up saying that Styles isn't on his level. He ended up saying that he may have to do to Styles what he did to Cody. So Rollins ended up laughing a little bit like the and then AJ Styles ended up rushing in, knocked Rollins out of his chair, and Styles ended up saying to Rollins, "That's for Cody." So Styles ended up leaving Rollins laying on the floor, and pretty much that was basically that. But I thought that was a nice touch with Styles running in, getting a cheap shot on Rollins, to set up their match for later on tonight. Thought that was pretty cool. Nice little touch. And then we went to Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke ended up coming out, and where this is going to be headed, the 24/7 garbage title. So we got a recap of Becky Lynch. She ended up getting rolled up by Dana Brooke last week on Raw, which I didn't see that because I went to a screening of The Wizard of Oz, one of my favorite classic films. I saw that on the big screen and it was amazing. Thankfully, I didn't see, Becky Lynch being rolled up by Dana Brooke last week. So she's going to defend, Dana Brooke was going to defend the garbage 24/7 title against Becky Lynch again. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, we had Becky Lynch end up coming out. And the match didn't get underway, so we didn't get the match because Becky Lynch ended up going straight after Dana Brooke, started stomping away on Dana Brooke in the corner. Becky Lynch ended up throwing Dana Brooke out of the ring. She ended up throwing Dana Brooke into the barricade, started slamming her head on the commentary table. Becky Lynch ended up demanding a mic. So, like I said, the match didn't get underway. We didn't have the match. Becky ended up saying that she has a lot of anger right now. She ended up saying that this is about the disrespect she's been shown after she forged a path of greatness. She ended up saying that she was robbed the last time she was in Money in the Bank. She ended up saying that this is her year. So Becky ended up throwing down the mic, and she ended up going after Dana Brooke. Asuka ended up coming out. Becky got right into the ring. Asuka ended up sprinting down to meet Becky. They started trading shots on the floor. And so both women were in the ring. Asuka ended up taking down Becky Lynch with a shoulder tackle and some strikes. And Asuka delivered a German suplex to Becky. So Becky ended up retreating up the entranceway. So pretty much that was basically that. Awful. What a waste of time this whole thing was with Dana Brooke and Becky Lynch. So Alexa Bliss then ended up making her way out. Alexa Bliss started staring at Becky Lynch. And so that set up the qualifying match for Money in the Bank, which was Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan teaming up to take on Doudrop and Nikki A.S.H. Which this was boring. This was a waste of time. Nikki ended up starting off against Alexa Bliss. Nikki ended up taking down Alexa by her hair. Alexa Bliss responded to that with a slap to Nikki, and she then delivered a basement drop kick. Doudrop ended up tagging in. Alexa ended up using a head scissor on Doudrop. Doudrop then ended up taking down Alexa and hit a senton, and she ended up going for the cover, to which Bliss ended up kicking out at 2. Nikki then tagged in. She ended up going for a quick cover, ended up getting a 2 count. So Nikki ended up putting Alexa Bliss in a chin lock. Bliss ended up fighting to her feet, ended up escaping with a jawbuster. So Liv Morgan ended up tagging in, same as Doudrop. Liv Morgan ended up taking down Doudrop, and she ended up hitting a springboard codebreaker. Morgan ended up hitting a missile dropkick from the second rope to Doudrop. Morgan ended up tagging in Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss ended up doing a takedown on Doudrop. Doudrop recovered and ended up hitting a headbutt on Alexa Bliss. And she ended up giving one to Liv Morgan on the ring apron. So Doudrop ended up tagging in Nikki, and they ended up hitting a double team on Alexa. And so Doudrop ended up pulling Liv Morgan off the ring apron, ended up slamming her on the floor. Doudrop was going for a senton, and Liv Morgan got out of the way. And so Doudrop ended up hitting the floor. So Alexa Bliss ended up catching Nikki and ended up hitting the DDT. And so Alexa ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan end up winning the match. And they are now qualified for Money in the Bank. So Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan are both going to be in Money in the Bank. So both are going to be joining Lacey Evans in the women's Money in the Bank match. So that was that. Overall, this was a waste of time. And then we had Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens ended up coming out. He was going to face Ezekiel again. This feud needs to fucking end already. How many times are we going to see Kevin Owens and Ezekiel going at it? So we had the match. Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. Same old shit. Nothing different in this match that we haven't seen the many times that they went at it. Match started off, Ezekiel ended up missing a jumping knee to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens ended up hitting a super kick, and then he delivered a cannonball splash to Ezekiel. He went up to the top, hit the Swanton Bomb, and he ended up going for the cover. Ezekiel kicked out. So Kevin Owens and Ezekiel end up going out on the floor. Ezekiel ended up throwing Kevin Owens into the ring post. Ezekiel ended up rolling Kevin Owens back into the ring. Kevin Owens ended up rolling out to the other side, ended up hanging Ezekiel's neck over the top rope. Kevin Owens then ended up coming into the ring. He ended up running into a spine buster by Ezekiel. He ended up going for the cover. Kevin Owens ended up kicking out at 2. So, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kevin Owens was in control of the match. He ended up locking in a chin lock on Ezekiel. Typical WWE. They always got to slow down the match with a chin lock. And there was a point where Ezekiel ended up slamming Kevin Owens on the ring steps, which was a very nasty spot there, because Ezekiel ended up dropping Kevin Owens with the Death Valley driver on the ring steps, and that led to that brutal spot there with Kevin Owens landing on the ring steps. So later on, we had Kevin Owens. He was trying to go for the stunner to Ezekiel. Ezekiel ended up escaping, and he ended up hitting a jumping knee, which sent Kevin Owens tumbling out of the ring. So Ezekiel ended up missing a splash. He crashed into the ring post. Ezekiel ended up managing to get back to the ring. Kevin Owens was jawing at Byron Saxton, Jimmy Smith, and Corey Graves at the commentary table. And Kevin Owens ended up getting himself counted out. So Ezekiel won the match by countout. So Kevin Owens was upset with himself. Ezekiel got on the mic, and he ended up saying that he needs to speak with his Zeke freaks. So Ezekiel ended up saying that he wants in the Money in the Bank match. He ended up saying that he got a hold of his older brother Elias, and that Elias has packed up his guitar, and that Elias is coming to Raw next week. So what is this going to be? Ezekiel's going to disguise himself as Elias. He's going to have a fake beard and a wig with long hair. Is that what Ezekiel's going to do? Pretty much, basically, that's what's going to happen. So overall, this was same old shit with Ezekiel and Kevin Owens. This feud needs to end. How much more could WWE drag this out? Enough already with this feud. Move on. So then we had MVP. He ended up making his entrance alongside Omos. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, MVP had a mic in hand. He ended up saying that Cedric Alexandra doesn't handle rejection very well. He ended up saying that Cedric Alexandra belongs down with the bottom feeders, while he and Omos belong up there. And when MVP ended up saying by there, he means in Money in the Bank. So MVP ended up thinking that Omos can reach the briefcase from the first or second rung of the ladder. So then we had the match, Cedric Alexandra versus MVP. Cedric Alexandra ended up attacking MVP when the bell rang. He delivered some forearms and a drop kick to MVP's knee. Cedric Alexandra ended up hitting a springboard flatliner on MVP, ended up going for the cover. MVP kicked out at 2. You had MVP end up hitting Ballin with the elbow, and MVP ended up going for the cover. Cedric Alexandra kicked out at 2. So Omos ended up distracting Cedric Alexandra. MVP ended up hitting the play of the day, and he went for the cover, and that was that. MVP ended up winning the match. Post-match, Omos ended up throwing Cedric Alexandra out of the ring, and that was that. Basically, squash match. So Cedric Alexandra All I know is his name's going to be on the next set of WWE releases. Watch that happen. So AJ Styles was backstage. Styles ended up saying that he can't wait to get his hands on Seth Rollins. He ended up saying that Money in the Bank is an accolade that has eluded him during his career. Styles ended up saying that Rollins is beneath him. So, elsewhere backstage, Rollins ended up saying that Styles sucker punched him earlier. He ended up saying that he'll dedicate his victory tonight to Cody. So Rollins was like, "This one's for you, Cody." So then Styles ended up making his way out. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Seth Rollins ended up making his way out. So we got the match, Styles versus Seth Rollins, Money in the Bank qualifying match. This was the best match of the night, in my opinion. Very good match. Styles and Rollins gave it all they got here in the match. Styles ended up attacking Rollins. He ended up backing Rollins into the corner. Styles went for a backslide for a 2 count. So Rollins ended up getting a shot in at Styles. He started punching away at him. Rollins ended up running into a drop kick by Styles. So Rollins then rolled out to the floor. Styles followed, and Rollins was whipped into the barricade by Styles. Styles ended up going back to the ring so he could deliver a slingshot forearm over the top rope out to Rollins on the floor. So Styles ended up rolling Rollins back into the ring. Styles ended up delivering a backbreaker to Rollins. So Rollins retreated out to the floor again. Styles followed him out of the ring again. Rollins started beating Styles into the ring. He ended up getting the jump on Styles coming back into the ring. Rollins then ended up hanging Styles on the top rope, and he ended up pushing Styles out to the floor, to which Rollins followed up with a suicide dive, which sent Styles crashing into the commentary table. So as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Styles was shown punching away on Rollins, but Rollins ended up catching Styles with a knee to his gut, and he ended up going for the cover, to which Styles kicked out too. So both guys were trading strikes in the center of the ring. Styles ended up slamming Rollins' face first, and he ended up going for the cover, and Rollins kicked out at 2. Styles then delivered a splash into the corner. Rollins ended up grabbing a roll-up for a 2 count, and he ended up hitting a super kick as Styles got back up to his feet. So Rollins ended up going for the cover. Styles ended up kicking out at 2. Rollins was going for the stomp. Styles ended up catching Rollins in the calf crusher. So Rollins ended up slamming Styles' head on the mat. Styles wouldn't even let go of the calf crusher. Rollins then reached to the bottom rope to break up the calf crusher. And so he ended up hitting a spinning kick. Styles ended up returning and delivered the Pele kick to Rollins. So both men were down. Styles, later on, he was sent up from the ring apron to deliver the phenomenal forearm. Rollins ducked it, and he ended up clipping Styles' knee from behind. Rollins ended up going for the pedigree, but Styles ended up reversing that into a Ushigoroshi, and he ended up going for the cover, to which Rollins kicked out at 2. So we had Styles end up going on the apron. He ended up climbing up to the top rope. Rollins ended up running up the corner. Styles ended up slipping out, and both Rollins and Styles ended up returning down to the mat. Rollins ended up recovering. He hit the buckle bomb, and he ended up going up to the top rope. Rollins ended up missing a frog splash, and Styles ended up going for the Styles Clash, and Rollins fought out of that. Styles ended up going for the Sunset Flip, and Rollins ended up reversing that into a roll-up. So there you go. Seth Rollins ended up winning the match. So Rollins is qualified for Money in the Bank. And for the men's Money in the Bank, there will be 6 other participants in Money in the Bank. And for the women, there will be 4 more participants in the women's Money in the Bank. So it's 6 for the men, 4 for the women. But overall, this was a very good match with Rollins and Styles. This was the best match of the night. Just both Rollins and Styles gave it all they got here. It was a very physical match. So then we had Riddle versus Ciampa. And The Miz was on commentary during the match. And the match was just meh, in my opinion. So Riddle ended up overrunning on Ciampa with some takedowns and an arm triangle. Ciampa ended up powering Riddle into the corner to break up the hold. Ciampa started stomping away on Riddle in the corner. They would trade strikes in the middle of the ring. Ciampa ended up stomping on Riddle's foot, ended up hitting the DDT, and Ciampa ended up going for the cover, to which Riddle kicked out at 2. And later on, we have Riddle end up setting up Ciampa. He ended up hitting the Draven DDT like his buddy, Randy Orton. Riddle then ended up setting up for the RKO. Ciampa reversed that into a roll-up, and then an ankle lock. Ciampa locked in the ankle lock on Riddle. Ciampa ended up slamming Riddle's toe into the mat and ended up hitting a running knee strike to Riddle. So Ciampa ended up going for the cover, to which Riddle kicked out at 2. So at the end of the match, Riddle ended up hitting the floating bro on Ciampa, and he then hit the RKO. So Riddle ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Riddle ended up winning the match because obviously Riddle needed this win for him going into his match with the Tribal Chief on Friday. So he definitely needed the win. But don't like that Ciampa lost the match here. But very meh match it was. And then we had Kevin Patrick. Kevin Patrick was in the ring to introduce Bianca Belair, to which she ended up making her way out. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Bianca Belair was in the ring with Kevin Patrick, and Bianca was saying that she's looking forward to facing Rhea Ripley because they're part of a new generation of women in WWE. Bianca ended up saying that she doesn't recognize Rhea Ripley since she joined Judgment Day. Bianca ended up thinking it's about intimidation. She ended up saying that she can't be intimidated. So Rhea Ripley then ended up appearing on the screen. She interrupted Bianca. Rhea Ripley ended up saying that the Judgment Day speaks through its actions. Finn Balor ended up saying that they're tired of playing nice and taking orders. And that's why they ousted Edge. Finn Balor being the new leader of the Judgment Day, they kicked out Edge. And the main reason why Edge was kicked out of Judgment Day is because WWE wanted the Judgment Day to have supernatural elements a part of them, and Edge didn't like that. So Edge was like, I don't want to be in this no more. I don't want to be in this stable no more. And the other reason why is I heard that WWE needs a babyface. So Edge will be going back to a babyface when he returns because Cody Rhodes is out. So they need a babyface. And that's why they're turning Edge back into a babyface. So that's one of the other reasons why Edge was kicked out of Judgment Day. With Edge not agreeing to WWE, saying, oh, we want to bring supernatural elements for the Judgment Day. And also, Cody being out. They need a top babyface. So, Damian Priest ended up saying that Edge had the right idea when he started the Judgment Day. But now, they're all equals. Rhea Ripley ended up saying that she doesn't tell people she's intimidated. She just is. Ripley ended up saying that she had her teeth knocked loose last Monday. and that she loved it. She ended up saying that she'll eradicate Bianca at Money in the Bank, and she will walk out a 2-time Raw Women's Champion. So that was basically that. But Finn Balor being the new leader of Judgment Day, Balor needed this, but at the same time, since they kicked out Edge, I see the Judgment Day possibly going nowhere. And this, in my opinion, I feel that this is going to go the same way as Retribution did. But that's how I feel how WWE is handling Judgment Day. Now that Edge is kicked out of there. And it's going to be Flopment Day, as I will be calling it. Because I think when Edge was a part of Judgment Day, everybody cared. And now that he's kicked out of it, obviously I think nobody cares now about how Judgment Day is going to move forward. Like I said, it's good for Balor. He needed this. He was getting stale. And this will probably work for Balor. Now that he's a heel. So then we went backstage. And we saw Sarah Schreiber. Sarah Schreiber ended up catching up with Theory. And Theory ended up saying to Sarah Schreiber that he's going to prove to Bobby Lashley that he's not on his level. And that he's the best investment that Mr. McMahon has ever made. Theory ended up saying that when they celebrate his career in 20 years, it'll make the 20-year Cena celebration look like nothing. Now, this is obviously setting up Theory versus John Cena there at SummerSlam. It's going to be the SummerSlam match after Theory gets finished with Bobby Lashley. So that's going to be your SummerSlam match. Theory versus Cena. Possibly United States Championship going to be on the line. So, there you go. And then we had Chad Gable end up coming out. Chad Gable was accompanied by Otis. Chad Gable was taking on Mustafa Ali, which that was the match. But very boring match. Obviously, Chad Gable was going to win the match. Mustafa Ali has been booked like a jobber ever since he returned. And this is WWE. They're still punishing Mustafa Ali. About, when Mustafa Ali wanted his release, WWE wouldn't have granted it for him. So he has 2 years left on his contract. And obviously, Mustafa Ali is not going to be staying there for 2 years. I think his name is possibly going to be on the next set of list of releases. Which I hope that will be the case. I mean, how much more can WWE bury Mustafa Ali? Mustafa Ali needs to get out of there. He needs to get out of the company. WWE doesn't deserve Mustafa Ali. We could see Mustafa Ali's talent showcased somewhere else. And he would be treated fairly and good somewhere else. But hopefully, like I said, Mustafa Ali's name is on the next set of releases, and he could go anywhere else and be treated very well. Hopefully, he goes to AEW, but AEW's roster is crowded. They have so much talent there. But Tony Khan better start making a phone call to Mustafa Ali if his name is on the next set of releases. I mean, can you imagine Mustafa Ali in AEW? He'd be very, very good there. But Chad Gable ended up winning the match. Chad Gable did a German suplex into a bridge. So you go, Chad Gable ended up winning the match. And Mustafa Ali continues to be buried. Moving on. Rey Mysterio versus Veer Mahaan. And this was just a squash match here. Veer Mahaan ended up winning the match. He ended up locking in the cervical clutch on Rey. Veer Mahaan ended up bumping into Dominic on the floor and wiped out Dominic, sent him over the barricade. So Veer Mahaan ended up winning the match. But after reading an article today that I read on Ringside News that involved Veer Mahaan, because Veer ended up stepping up for this young boy, because nobody showed up to this young boy's 6th birthday, which is very sad. So the mother ended up tweeting out, "Not a single person showed up to my son's 6th birthday. I invited his entire class of 24. I have no idea what to do or how to make this right for him." So that was the mother of this young boy tweeted out. And so Veer Mahaan reached out on Twitter. He ended up tweeting back, "Hey Landon," as that was the boy's name. He was like, "I want you to know that when I get into the ring on Raw on Monday night, I'm going to try to win one for you. You might not want to watch though. Might be a bit scary. I can be a mean dude. Have a great birthday, little bro." So that was very nice of Veer Mahaan to reach out to this little boy and make his birthday good after nobody went to it, which is sad. Very nice of Veer. Have respect for Veer for doing that for that boy. So, and then of course they hyped up the match between Roman Reigns and Riddle for the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship on SmackDown on Friday. And they also announced that next week on Raw there will be a qualifying match for Money in the Bank between Asuka and Becky Lynch. And they end up reminding us that Elias will return to Raw next week. And it's going to be Elias. It's going to be Ezekiel in disguise. Watch. They give him a fake beard, a wig with long hair. Watch. They're going to possibly do that. I can already sense that that's going to be fucking awful. And then we went to the pose down with Theory and Bobby Lashley, which you saw at the beginning of my review, where I did a reaction to that. So, but that was Monday Night Raw tonight. Awful show as always. Absolutely terrible. The pacing of the show, like I said, felt like I was watching the show for 4 hours. So, Monday Night Raw, fucking terrible tonight. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up. Comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out my little video of me meeting Bret Hart, which was on Saturday. So check out that. Upload a commercial break from UPN from 2003. The commercial that aired during that edition of SmackDown back in the day. So check out those videos. And until the next video, which will be the Dynamite review, which I will talk about Jeff Hardy. Because Jeff Hardy, today, the big news, he got arrested, DUI. I'll get to explain that during Dynamite because it's AEW related. Of course, Jeff Hardy's a part of the AEW roster, so I'll talk about that on Wednesday. So, until then, I'll see you all later.